Welcome YouTube to Clear Vision Wednesday. I am your host, Claudia Mühlenweg. I'm the founder of the Natural Clear Vision Institute, and this is my weekly live show all about eye care, eye health, eye beauty, seeing, improving your vision naturally. We have so many different topics we're covering, but it's all about vision, about eyes, about eye health, about how the eyes look, how they can see, and how they look to other people on the outside. And today I'm super excited. Before we actually get to that, make sure you subscribe. I always forget to say that. Make sure to subscribe so that we can bring amazing guests on like today. So let me bring on Dr. Marisol. Welcome back.
Hi, thanks for having me again, Claudia. I love speaking to the Natural Vision crew.
Yeah, we had you on several times, and obviously we have a really hot topic. You are the founder of Queen of the Thrones, the leading organic castor oil brand. And today we want to talk about beauty routines. What can we do for all of us here who don't want to use the chemicals, the harsh stuff, the fragrance, all these toxic things, but still we want to look young, right? We want to look great.
Yeah, yeah, and but that's the thing with castor oil, right? I'm the same way. We like you and I talk about this all the time. We don't want to get the Botox. We don't want to get the filler. We want to. I've actually come up with the phrase. I want to age on purpose. I want to love and honor my wrinkles as time has gone by, and they've been a part of my purpose and what has like fueled me on in life. So that's really where I want to come from on aging. And of course, I want to do things like the old way, the natural way, the ancient way. And, with castor oil, we open a lot of different ancient doors and ancient practices, especially when it comes to beauty from Cleopatra, which is fascinating.
Yeah, no, thank you for that little introduction. I love age on purpose or aging on purpose because I'm the same way. We just looked up some things beforehand where I was like, I don't know about any of this, beauty stuff, like, because I've never in my life had anything artificially done to me. And maybe, I'm from Germany originally. We have, and I know you studied naturopathic medicine back in the day in Germany, right? And
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
but let's talk about this stuff. So what makes castor oil like, and I have my little roll on here. I use this every night. We will talk about routines too, but what makes it so effective? Because when I first got introduced to this, by the way, before we get into this, I think I met you, or no, my mentor, my health coach talked about castor oil, and I had never heard of castor oil. I had never heard of liver packs, of any of this stuff. I'm like, what is this? So I
Mm.
started using it like 7 years ago.
Oh,
Today, we want to really focus on the beauty aspect of it versus we had you on before talking about the health
love.
aspect and the care and all these things. So today we want to focus more on the outside look, but of course, we know that has to also come from the inside. But let's talk about like one thing I noticed as I was getting into my 60s, my eyebrows got thinner and thinner, and my lashes got like, kind of they were never like super crazy long, but they were pretty good.
Yeah.
And then, the crow's feet. So, what makes castor oil so effective for promoting this, these fuller looking eyelashes and brows? Like, can you
Well,
tell us a little bit?
yeah, absolutely. So one of the things with as we age, especially, and I think castor oil really has a wonderful place for women who are aging, because there's all these things like lateral eyebrow thinning, eyelashes, hair, as well as our skin gets so dry, right? Like all areas of us get dry. We know even with sex and sexual intercourse can be difficult because we're drier. So the castor oil really is about moisturizing and hydrating and nourishing. Naturally, it contains vitamin E, omegas, ricinoleic acid, which is like the fingerprint of castor oil. And, it's just such a wonderful, wonderful oil that nourishes deeply. And as we age, this is what happens in the female body is that our estrogen begins to deplete. And what I saw in my clinical practice is that as the estrogen begins to deplete, our thyroid hormone goes up. Thyroid hormone going up is not a good sign because that means that you tend to be moving more into a hypothyroid. And one of the signs of hypothyroid is actually like lateral eyebrow thinning. So this is something that we use clinically when we're doing physical exams. So the application of castor oil on the eyebrows and eyelashes, the purpose is really to improve the look of them and for them to look and feel thicker. And there is, unfortunately, there's no research done on it, but there's so much use over time, and people who just swear by castor oil's use for it. I've had excellent results. Like I have probably now the bushiest eyebrows I wish I wanted, because I'd come from the era where I'd plucked a lot.
Oh, me
And
too. Me too. We
yeah,
plucked it all away, and now we're like, why did we do that?
right. And so now, I was like, no, I want all my natural, and I'm gaining that, and I just love it. And I've seen, for me, the benefit. It, like, everything looks thicker in the eyes, even my hair, my skin is so much more moisturized. So I've really been now on the mission to see how many products I can replace in my beauty cabinet with castor oil, and I've been able to replace quite a few.
Yeah, we had you on talking about the whole Brody routine and using castor oil to replace like 7 products, which is really amazing. But when it comes so I noticed that too. But what do people, first of all, how do you apply it? Like, what's the best way to apply it? I know you have several products in your company. You have a mascara, a wand, which I think is out of stock right now, but you
Right
have
now.
and you have the roll-on, which I love. This looks like the roll-on, or you have the actual castor oil that you can pour out, which I also use. So tell us a little bit, or is there like a special tool? I heard that the tool from somebody where I don't know any of these things. So tell us a little bit, like, what's the best way to use castor
Yeah.
oil?
So one of my favorites is definitely the roll-on. The roll-on is so multi-purpose because I like to do things all at once, and you can actually not only target your eyebrows and eyelashes with the roll-on, but you can also target like crow's feet and the small lines and also the dark circles under your eyes. So what I tend to love to do, I mean, I use the roll-on for ease, but you're welcome to use any of the other castor oils if you would love, but this is just easy on the face. And because it's a crystal quartz roll-on, that serves its purpose in terms of like gua sha. I don't know if people have heard of gua sha, but gua sha, you basically use like a crystal quartz or a jade. It's usually made from some kind of precious stone, that has, therapeutic healing properties to it. And it's used and it's placed around the eye to just like really like get things deep into the skin. But you can achieve like the exact same thing with the roll-on with the castor oil around the eyes. Now, the thing to know with this is that if you typically, I do this before going to bed, and that's how I would recommend it for people. We do have, a brand new that just launched a few months ago, which we ran out pretty much immediately, like a mascara brush, which is amazing, which you can just target the eyelashes or eyebrows. And I feel that's really good if you're for the daytime. It's just simple to do. You can just, take the brushes and just like use it. Like some people now, we've had comments like they're replacing their mascara and just using the castor oil because it makes their eyelashes look shiny, right? Which is like awesome, which I do too on occasion when I'm not wearing any makeup. I kind of make it a practice for myself. But if you're doing it to sleep, the key here is that castor oil gets everywhere. So you want to know the nature of castor oil. It can get everywhere. And like when you're going to bed, you don't want all this castor oil around your eyes and then for it to get all over your sheets and your cushions. And worse is what I noticed initially was in my hair. It would get in my bangs, and then I'd have greasy hair and I have to take a shower. So what I did in order to change that, because I'm a huge fan of castor oil around the eyes, I'm also always been a huge fan of wearing a sleep mask because naturally, sleep masks, block out light. They help improve your sleep. So I always want to try to see if I can, stack the hack basically so that I can save time and money. And so I'll apply the castor oil all around my eyes, even over my eyelid and eyelashes, on my eyebrows, just like this. And I love your technique that you tend to recommend to people to do a
Yes.
big, which I've been doing a lot too, but just make sure that you do also get the lid of the eye. That's a very important part. And then to keep the castor oil in, to keep the mess away, and also to help it absorb deeper, we wear the mask. And so the mask is just a simple organic cotton mask, and you just wear it on top of your castor oil. Now, sometimes people are like, "Oh, I don't need a mask. I have a mask," and it's typically like a mask that they bought, I don't know, at a grocery store, or they got on an airline for free, or they bought it at the pharmacy. Most masks are not organic cotton. And most masks are usually plastic filled with phthalates and all different types of things. And I don't love those either because I was wearing those to go to bed and I was sleeping for 7 to 8 hours with this plasticky dinky eye mask, right? Now that I look back, I'm like, okay, thank God I learned to do that better. So this is the whole purpose that we created, especially was to use it with castor oil and oils. And always remember, castor oil is the master carrier oil. So if it's next to plastic or next to like a rayon synthetic material, well, then there'll be some kind of there'll be some sort of absorption of plastic. So
So that's
that's
a
right.
really good point because I used to use those
Right.
plain masks too. And I
Yeah.
think one thing I do want to point out, especially in the summer, I have been wearing masks also for light pollution around here, but also, we have fans running, you might have air conditioning. Some people's eyelids don't close all the way. So as we get older, like you talked about dryness, we often see an increase in dry eyes. Dry eyes has become a rampant problem with screen use, with, again, hormonal changes, aging. So wearing the eye mask, and I wear this every night. I don't even know what I would, and I like that you can wash it hot, it's like, but that's another reason to like not just seal in the castor oil and prevent a mess on the cushion, but also you keeping that moisture in, especially if you
Yeah.
have AC or fan or something running at night, which can dry out your eyes. So I want to make that point as well. That's why I think the eye
And
mask.
that's an
Yeah,
excellent point because it's very true, right? What you're doing, you're locking in the moisture.
right.
And the moisture isn't just going onto the skin, like it's locked in this area of the eye. So yeah, that's actually great. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna talk to people about this. It's true.
So what about how long does it take to like see results? Can you?
Results. When it comes to cosmetic things, everybody's different and it's all unique. And obviously too, it also depends what you're doing in your natural lifestyle because let's face it, what happens on the outside is also a reflection of what's happening on the inside. So, like practices to help like enhance good flow in the body, like the castor oil liver pack, that's always key. But also like good diet, exercise, hydration, right? Hydration alone just with water can really improve the look of your skin. But typically, if you're looking for results in terms of like eyebrows and eyelashes, it can be somewhere for people. Some people notice it right away within a month, and other people notice it after 3 to 4 months. So it really just depends on the person, I think, age and their lifestyle. So you kind of got to but it's natural. So you got to stick to it. So, and the good thing is it's a natural product that isn't that expensive either. And if you can start to use it in your like entire beauty routine, you'll start saving so much money from other makeups and cosmetics that you don't need like other like I'm now, Claudia, washing my face and my whole body with castor oil, and I've replaced soap completely, and my skin is thanking me for it because
You
another
look great.
well, another sign of thyroid is your shins become like almost like a desert, very, 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 very dry. And I was starting to experience that. And that's where I started to wash my body with castor oil because I wondered if I could, I could, oh, someone's asking a question. I was wondering if I could use it as a body wash, but I figured out the way to use it as a body wash and now it works great. And in a few days, my shins were moisturized, hydrated, and it did not have that appearance anymore of like literally Sahara Desert.
Well, that
So
was a question. We had a whole episode on the beauty, but there was a question I think we should answer too before we get to the next one that I have on my list. But isn't it too thick to use as a wash?
Mhm.
Either face or body, castor oil is really a thick oil. So can you talk a little bit about that?
But that's actually what you want because so oil in natural medicine, we use it to like grab things because as you know, carrier oils carry, fat soluble toxins. It's also why it's so important that all of your oils, especially like castor oil for sure, but ones that you consume are also placed in glass because you don't want to be also absorbing plastic with that good, excellent olive oil that you purchase for I don't know how many dollars. So you want to be the conscious consumer. But when it comes to castor oil on the face to wash the face, the thing is you're basically wetting the face first, so giving it like a primer, and then you're applying the oil onto the skin. And yes, it is thick. And the way that you can apply the oil onto the skin is with a roll-on. That's how I do it. It's nice and easy. I wet my face first, I apply the roll-on. And then what you do is you actually just rinse it off and wipe off the excess. And with that wiping off of the excess, that's the cleansing of the skin. And it and you can't really do this with any other oil because other oils can block pores. And this is something that I feel is not communicated enough out on social media. Like people are recommending things like beef tallow on your face, sesame
Oh,
oil. olive oil. Yeah, but they're not meant to be on the skin and on the face at least. They're great, like beef tallow is great on the body. But on the skin, on the face, it's comedogenic forming, which means it could create pimples. And, again, as we age, what happens? We also start getting more hormonal acne sometimes, like right? Sometimes in the ages between like 45 to 55. So right as we're going through perimenopause and menopause. So this is where I feel it's important to use a non-comedogenic oil, so an oil that does not, clog pores, and that we actually like, get something that is literally really cleaning and has already moisturized your skin, so you don't need to then go and moisturize your skin. And that's the
I
same.
know a lot of times you clean your face with stuff, even though it's like clean beauty, and then you put moisturizer on, it still feels dry. So I love with castor oil, I don't feel that way either. But I do have a question since you mentioned hormonal acne and stuff. So sometimes we have people asking us question, well, I'm really sensitive around the eyes, or I have maybe a sty, or I have some infection. So can you talk about like, oh, they have a bruise or they have acne, whatever it is. Can castor oil be used in that case, or is it not good to use it if you have any infections or allergies or sensitivity? Or can you speak about that a little bit?
The great thing with castor oil is it's very, very safe and it's a very, very soothing oil. So if there is anything that is irritated or upset, like castor oil soothes the area. So it's always a good adjunct to use with any maybe conventional therapies you might be using for it. But I would give it a shot because the soothing effect of castor oil is what gives its other name as it's known by, which is the palm of Christ oil, which I feel is just spectacularly beautiful because you know we think of Christ, palm of Christ, we think of healing hands, right? So it's not that it's healing, it's just so soothing for the skin. It's my number one go-to now for any skin stuff or anything. I just go first to castor oil and then I see what happens. It's like
Okay. But somebody like I mean, like with anything in life, somebody could potentially be allergic. So if you have a reaction, then of course, then yeah, okay.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
common.
so it's super rare to have an allergic reaction to castor oil. It's super, super. I mean, in my clinical practice, I've experienced it actually in 2 decades of working with castor oil. I've experienced it once. So, and that's thousands and thousands. It might even be hundreds, maybe close to millions now who've been using our castor oil packs. And we would have definitely gotten a comment or something if people had responded badly to it. So, yeah, I'm confident that it is, especially a good quality castor oil, because quality here makes a difference. If you're using a good quality castor oil, you know that the entire supply chain, like Queen of the Thrones, that I literally watch and curate because I don't want it sitting in plastic at any time in my moving it from where we get it in India or China or Colombia, depending on where I get the best source at the time, a bottle of sourcing the oil. I don't want it to be sitting in plastic. We use steel drums. It's a more expensive option to travel, but it's better for the oil. It preserves the quality of the oil. So I do everything in my power to preserve the quality of the oil so that it becomes the very best castor oil that people can experience. And
Let's talk about a little bit about this because I've seen videos of you in the castor oil around the castor oil plant. So, you really watch the whole supply chain. You make sure it's never in any plastic. Like what are other things? Because I've been to an Indian store and they had lots of castor oil. It's a huge thing in the Indian tradition, and it was all in plastic oil. It was like the cheap what's it called? The other oil that we use for cooking, canola oil. It's like
canola oil
it came in
bottles,
these kind of.
yeah.
So what to look for when buying? And I know there's also different kinds of castor oil. I think there's golden and dark one. Can you quickly explain the differences and what to look for when you are purchasing castor oil?
Perfect. So let's start with golden and dark, and then we can go into the differences when people are searching. So golden castor oil is the oil that is used all over the body, all over the face for everybody, and it's used in the hair only for people who have straight or lightly curvy hair, so wavy hair. So and it's typically a thinner type of a hair. The black castor oil is really specifically just used for hair for people who have kinky, coily, or extremely curly hair because it's a completely different texture from thinner hair. So it's really dependent upon your hair type, but your skin type, you use golden no matter what skin type you have, right? Because that's just the best way to go about it. Now, you're looking for castor oil always to be in glass, ideally, never to sit in plastic. You'd like it to be hexane free, right? Because there's two ways to process castor oil. You can either cold press it or expeller press it, or you could use a chemical to extract the castor oil. Now, we don't want to use a chemical to extract the castor oil because then that leaves the chemical residue within that. And that's a practice of very many brands that are maybe not so expensive. So remember, you really, really get what you pay for when it comes to castor oil. Also, ideally extra virgin. So just like your olive oil, the first pressing of the castor oil always is going to give you a better like spectrum of quality. Now, of course, though, that extra virgin does command a higher price on the market, right? So that's the reason why Queen of the Thrones is more expensive because we are doing that. And please note, there's lots of brands who are not doing that, and putting the higher price on their brand anyways. But it isn't the case. So you're looking for extra virgin. You're also probably looking that someone in behind of the company is like me, a practitioner, a doctor, invested and cares in people, right? Because when I read our lab values, because everything, you're always looking also for products to be third party tested. When I'm looking at lab values, I'm looking at them from a functional perspective. So I am looking for how is this body of castor oil, how wonderful is it in its totality? Many companies will just look at racinoleic acid, the thumbprint of castor oil, or they'll just look for one part of it. Like, is it oxidized? I'm looking at it all, and that's how I select my castor oil because I want there to be a good spectrum of everything that castor oil contains. And that's where you get good quality. When it comes to third-party testing, this is something that we've come into the news because there was a report from Mamavation that was done where she had, I guess, tested our oil. Now, I'm not sure if it was our oil, and I'll tell you why. And that our oil actually came up with phthalates. And when I saw this completely shocked me because I'm like, there is no way. Like, I'm testing everything, I'm seeing everything, heavy metal, like everything. And, so of course we retested batches because I'm like, we have to retest. I'm not comfortable with this. We retested batches and sure enough, zero phthalates, no detection of phthalates. So, and I bring this up why it's important is because I don't know which oil Mamavation got. Did they get a counterfeit? This is very, very possible. You have to be very, very careful where you're buying your castor oil. Like even on social media, I would hesitate because it has to go and link directly to our website. Like Amazon, there's counterfeits on many times on social media. Like right now on TikTok, there's a bunch of counterfeits that are posing as Queen of the Thrones. They go so far as mimicking the bottle exactly, even sometimes using our same brand name or just little changing the brand name. So this is a situation of buyer beware. Make sure that you're looking at the website that you're buying it from and that it says queenofthethrones.com because this is such a common practice and a problem on Amazon, just we don't know about it. So we really got to be cautious of it, and it also is happening on social media. So be very, very careful because what these people are doing, in fact, is some are actually just trying to get your credit card information and your data. So just be careful there. And others are actually just duping people with a cheaper, lower grade oil, but also they don't even include a crystal quartz roller. They're selling it like a crystal quartz roller, and it's literally a plastic roller. So they're corrupting the oil on its own. So I really want you to be careful. And this is in general when it comes to like you got to go with your trusted sources. Claudia is a trusted source. Her link is legitimate. That's when you know about it. So just be really, really careful because, I was just shocked when I entered this industry and the reason I left clinical practice was because I wanted to make sure that this changes, in at least from my part, to serve the people who I can serve, who are knowledgeable and want the good stuff. Well, then they can get it, and we have that available to them. And there, of course, there's a little bit of a premium price to that, but that premium is worth it because you're getting good quality, like effective castor oil, in fact, because I can even go further. Like I even tested 13 brands on castor oil, and many of them were not even castor oil. It was just scary. Like what I've seen over the past 5 years of cheaters out there really, really hurts my heart for people because people are using this for their wellness and beauty and their well-being, right?
It's
So let's
crazy. I agree. I mean, I've not been ordering anything on Amazon anymore
no,
because I
no.
feel like, it must be so hard to have a business like yours because I know how much you care. And
Oh
then you're
yeah.
just trying to it's like, I remember back in the day, it was like the Gucci bags, whatever,
Yeah.
the fake ones. But it's like with these products that we ingest or that we put on our skin, or we have to be so careful. And I've definitely been going just to the people's websites and buying things that way. It's just, yeah, we have to. I think it's getting even worse. It's insane what we have to deal with now, But do your research, guys. I think that thank you for educating us on that because we don't know. We don't pay attention to exactly how the logo looks on the thing, and if it's the right one. So make sure I put the code into the website, and my code, I have a code that gives you 10% off. So I love your products, to be honest. I think they're amazing. But we have a couple more questions also on YouTube, but I have a couple more that I want to ask. So what about like, sometimes, and again, I had to look this up, eyelash extensions. I thought they do them like for hair, where they're not like who knows what they're doing nowadays. But I think it's usually the magnetic or the ones that you glue on. So people that have eyelash extensions or something called microblading. Again, I'm so clueless with those things. Like what, like or any other skin treatments. Is castor oil okay, or is it actually beneficial, or what should we avoid with certain beauty procedures?
Yeah, yeah. So with microblading, that's basically the tattooing of the eyebrows. It's something that lasts somewhat around 3 to 4 months, sometimes longer for people, 6 months. It depends on your skin and how your skin repairs itself. But many microbladists actually recommend castor oil post the treatment, and again for those soothing qualities of the oil, right? And to support the treatment that they did, hopefully to last a little longer. Like now, that's not proven, but it's used always to soothe, and that's the main priority. When it comes to fake eyelashes, the ones with glue, unfortunately, you can't use castor oil. However, many eyelash technicians, when their clients need to take a period of time of a pause, because sometimes there's a pause that's needed because the glue could be causing infections. I mean, it's an irritant. There's all these problems. Many lash estheticians actually recommend the use of castor oil on the lashes in between because it helps with, so again, supporting healthier, thicker looking eyebrows. And a lot of eyebrows are lost in the process of using the glue. So this is one of the reasons that it's commonly recommended. Now, if you're using fake eyelashes that are the magnetic type, where it's two pieces of lashes and you just attach them onto the eyebrows, and usually you take those off at night, those are absolutely fine. You can use the castor oil at night. So if you have the eyelashes that can be removed, you can use the castor oil at night, but just not if you have the ones that can't be removed.
Okay, that makes sense. I think I do. You have a book that just came out. I actually don't have the physical copy here, but you have a book that just came out. Can you tell us a little bit about the book and what you're talking about? And then we will look at questions on YouTube also.
Yeah. So this is my second book, and it's called Castor Oil Glow Up. So I'm super excited about this because some of the biggest questions that we've been getting has been about beauty and all, there's so many ways to use castor oil for beauty, like over 21 ways. And I literally just wanted to put it down and let it be the Bible, the authoritative book on castor oil and beauty. And so this is the purpose of this book. So it's actually a really, really quick read. If you notice it, it's not that thick, and I did that on purpose. Thank you, Diane. Thank you. She just congratulated me on the book. I love that. I wanted it to be thin because I wanted to be conceivable, easy, and a guide for people. So for them to be able to like use it, have it by their bathroom countertop. Like, what do I want to start transferring or changing over today? What do I want to do this time? What do I want to try with castor oil? So that way they could do kind of like a step-by-step change. Because I get it. You don't necessarily want to like change all your routine all at once. You also invested money in other products. But if you want to start switching over and you want to get the natural glow up with castor oil and like be radiant, this is what this book will teach you to do. And it'll teach you to do from head to toe, like hair to nails. So, and skin all over. So you'll be able to really get a great understanding. And again, it's an easy read. And plus it comes with a free online e-course too, that you can then watch the videos and how they're done, which makes the experience just a lot easier
Oh,
for you.
super cool. So you see
Yeah.
little videos because sometimes with books, even in I'm working on a book at some point. I have lots of ideas because I feel like you're absolutely right. Like when we see things in a book, we don't always understand. So so there's a QR code in the book. I have this here that you can
Yeah.
scan, and then you get access to like a little course that has all these videos. So, and we have a special bundle. I will put that in the YouTube for anybody who wants to get the eye mask and the book. There was a question about shipping to Europe, but I think you are not shipping to Europe, right? You're US and Canada, is that
Yes,
correct?
in Canada, except we are in England on
Oh,
Amazon.
okay.
So if that probably would be just check that it's Queen of the Thrones like by pattern. If you look that it's Queen of the Thrones, an official site of it, then you can get it on online on in England, Amazon. Yeah.
Right. And your book, I love it. It's like for breast, healthy breasts, it's for bloating, belly fat, for cellulite. Like literally it's an all, like you said, head to toe beauty tool. So there's a
Yeah.
couple of questions I wanted to from YouTube that I wanted to make sure. Like, is it safe for castor oil to get into your eyes if you use the eye mask? Let's say you apply it generally and then your eye, some is on the lashes and then a little bit gets into your eyes. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
so even though our castor oil is not sterile, our castor oil is very clean and it's all bottled with clean procedures. So and again, we tested for contaminants and if there's any issue like bacterial, etc. So we're always on the lookout for that. So it's safe if it does get into the eyes. I mean, I'm not telling people to put it directly into the eyes, but it's absolutely safe because it's a high quality oil, right? So you're going to be fine. Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah, I do, and I've
I've been,
used that. I've done it very thickly on the eyes. I've never put anything in my eyes. I
yeah,
never in my whole life had an eye infection.
yeah,
And I've been using this for 7 years every night. So yeah, I think again, we're not talking about putting it directly in the eyes, but when you have a little bit under your lashes, and
yeah,
that's why we also say do it in the evening, unless you use the mascara and you do it just a little bit, because
right.
sometimes I put so much on it and then I blinked and then there was a little bit of a veil, like, you
And you
know.
can't see. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So use it at night. That's why I love I using it at night. I take up all my eye makeup with castor oil too.
Yeah.
It makes it so easy to so anyway, there's some Fairchild says I add a little bicarbonate soda, keep it on my face for a while and wash off. And I don't know if you mix that with could you mix like like a little scrub? Have you ever I'm just thought of that would
Yeah,
be
oh yeah. So with castor oil, there's some recipes in the book as well too. So I do
oh
like,
recipes, yummy.
yeah, yeah, green tea masks. Also exfoliant with green tea and Himalayan salt. So you can use like fine grind
Nice.
Himalayan salt or even like fine grinded sugar or like the baking soda can work as well too. Just caution with baking soda because baking soda is so basic. And sometimes, castor oil is a natural pH, which is the reason why it makes it so good for the skin. It's in between for washing and everything. Castor oil is somewhere in between of like a 4.5 to about a 5.5 pH, so right in the midway between acidic and basic. And
Right.
the skin is also that pH. The big problem with soaps, which is why I switched out of soaps, is that soaps are usually typically 8 to 10 in on the scale of acid base. And so then that can dry out your skin and baking soda could also dry your skin. So that would be you could mix if I would go salt. I think finely grinded Himalayan salt mixed with a matcha green tea powder and then some couple teaspoons of castor oil is an awesome formula.
Oh God. So you have amazing beauty recipes in your
Yeah.
book too. I
Oh,
haven't tried those yet. I will definitely do that. I have
awesome.
matcha powder and I have all those things. That sounds amazing. So there's another question from Dagmar. She says, how quickly is castor oil absorbed into the body? I once read something of a matter of 20 to 25 seconds. And does this go into the bloodstream?
Yeah. So we really don't know is the best way that I can answer this. The only thing that we do know well about castor oil is that it is the best carrier oil. So it tends to carry oils better. And I'm going to think that that's probably because of its thickness, right? So it has a better container. And you can see this like you could do a little experiment. You could take like 2 glasses of water and in one you pour castor oil and the other you pour olive oil and you stir it around. And you'll notice that castor oil stays bound together. No matter how much substance you put in. I usually typically put in pepper, right? So you can see it. I put in pepper. I keep on putting in pepper until the pepper falls to the bottom. But the olive oil, the pepper will fall down to the bottom pretty immediately. But the castor oil, it takes on forever. So that's a way to understand how it is a good carrier oil. But we really don't know. The only thing we can do is enhance castor oil. Like then that's why I enhance it always with packs and if you want to add heat, you can, but our packs naturally create heat because I want to keep the castor oil in the area that I want it. I also want the pack to, signal to my nervous system and my body that, hey, I'm paying attention to this place right now, right? Because whenever you put a band-aid on something or you put a mask on or a compress or anything like that, like if you're injured, if you put something on it, like a tensor bandage, your body like focuses on that area. And that's natural because there's suddenly a consistent pressure, and the body wants to send good things to that area. So that's the best that can answer that.
That makes sense. And we had a whole episode with you about the chakras and how we can use castor oil for grounding and nervous system regulation. So I love that. There's an interesting comment on YouTube, and I think then we will come to a close after that. Jason said, ever heard of using castor oil with pearl powder on the eyelids for better vision? First of all, I don't think putting anything on the eyelids will make your eyesight better, but mixing it with pearl powder, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I don't know if I would put pearl power near the eyes with castor oil, neither on top of it, right? Because if that pearl powder gets into the eye, that can cause problems, right? And that could probably also clog up your meibomian gland. You can get some meibomian gland dysfunction. That I would be careful with. Um, generally around the eye, I try to keep it very, very simple and just castor oil, right?
Yeah.
Like no essential oils either around the eyes because that can burn, right? Some people choose to, when they're targeting their wrinkles, they want to put a little bit of frankincense. You can do that, but you just need to be careful that it's not close to your eye. So you don't put the frankincense castor oil over your eyelid. That would not be good.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But you could probably in your recipes, you could probably mix a couple of things with castor oil. So yeah, your book, we put the link into YouTube. I have a special link with a bundle where you get the book and the eye mask and the castor oil roll on, and then you can also just buy the book separately if you want to just get the book. And anyway, thank you so much. This was absolutely amazing. We're gonna have a little after party with my Clear Vision Club members where we're gonna what we always talk about the real talk.
Cool.
So thank you everybody for subscribing on YouTube, for being here. Make sure you share this with anybody who could benefit. Subscribe to my channel and tell other people about this. We are covering literally everything that is related to how we see and how the eyes look. And thank you, Dr. Marisol. So anything else where people can find you, your website, I linked it, but it's Queen of the Thrones. I think you're also on social media. You want to quickly share where people can find you?
Yeah, you can find me personally at Be Well Queen on YouTube, on Instagram, and on TikTok. So I'm active there and also on LinkedIn. So anywhere that's my true feeling about life is that we're here to be well. All queens are here to be well,
I
right? And
love that. Be
that's,
well, Queen.
yeah,
I
all
will
queens.
put that on YouTube. So yeah, I think, and especially, I love your idea of aging on purpose. Like, things are changing all the time and redefining what we really care about and simplifying, simplifying, simplifying. I'm actually with you on that. Like not so many products, like keeping just simple, clean stuff. Right? Like we want to be as toxin free as we can, and it's probably totally impossible in this world, but Castor Oil is a great way to support us on that journey. So thank you so much. Any last thing you want to share with the audience?
It just I mimic exactly what you say, right? Like it's like we want to start using the things that are clean because we can't avoid things because we're in a world filled with toxins. So we can choose the products that don't add to that soup, right? And that's
Yeah.
that's probably the most important thing. And I'd probably say just know who you're buying from. I think more than ever now with AI and all the different things, really know who you're buying from because it's amazing. Like make sure it's the right website because honestly, like they'll use my picture. They're actually using all of our pictures. They're using our influencers. They're using everything, right? These copycats. So just really be careful.
Oh yeah,
Wait,
that's the whole thing where they just use your now they can make AI videos and yeah,
everything.
you guys,
Yeah.
it's like, be smart about these things. Thank you so much for sharing all this gold. And the book has way more information and details and recipes, not to eat, but like for your beauty routine. So thank you so much.
Okay.
And we will end the YouTube.